When my girlfriend asked to talk, I thought it was going to be one of those heart-to-heart conversations couples have when they're planning the next step. We'd been together for over 3 years. So in my head, I figured she might bring up moving in, traveling, maybe even marriage someday. But instead, she smiled nervously and said words that knocked the air out of me. I love you. But I'm not ready for the boring couple life. I want to feel young and wild before I settle down with someone safe like you. For a few seconds, I just stared at her, my fork frozen halfway between my plate and my mouth. The restaurant around us buzzed with chatter, but all I could hear was her voice echoing. I set my fork down carefully, as if sudden movement might shatter me. Boring couple life, I repeated, my voice calmer than I felt. She shrugged, fiddling with her napkin. You're dependable, and I know you'd make a great husband one day, but right now, I want comfort. I want fun. I want wild nights, road trips, mistakes, adventure. You don't fit that right now. Her honesty was a slap in the face, disguised as a compliment. She loved me, but not enough to stay. She respected me, but not enough to commit. She saw me as the man she'd eventually want, but not the man she wanted now. I leaned back, letting the weight of it settle. My heart should have been breaking. Instead, something inside me hardened into clarity. So you want freedom? I asked quietly. She looked at me like I was supposed to argue, to plead, to convince her otherwise. Yes, she admitted, almost relieved. I don't want to be tied down yet. I want to live. I nodded slowly. Then, with a calmness that startled even me, I said, Then you'll have it. Go. Live your wild life. I won't stop you. Her mouth fell open. She hadn't expected that. She expected tears, arguments, drama. Instead, I reached into my phone and cleared our shared calendar dates, anniversaries, weekend plans, erased with a few swipes. That night, I went home and started quietly building a life she'd never be part of. I wasn't going to compete with bars, strangers, and late-night thrills. I was going to invest in myself, my job, my body, my mind, my future. Every brick I laid was one step further from her world. The next weekend, I saw her across a crowded bar, laughing with friends, dressed like she was auditioning for the role of young and wild. Our eyes met, and she paused, waiting for me to look broken. But I wasn't. I gave her a polite nod and walked away. She wanted freedom. I gave it to her. What she didn't realize was that freedom works both ways, and I was finally free from her too. The first few weeks after our breakup, she embraced her so-called freedom like a kid set loose in a candy store. My social media feeds made it impossible to ignore pictures of her clinking glasses at rooftop bars, dancing in crowded clubs, tagging new friends I'd never heard of. At first, I winced every time her face popped up. But the more I looked, the more I noticed the same thing. Her smile was wide, but her eyes told a different story. They looked tired, almost desperate, as if the joy was staged for the camera. Meanwhile, I was rediscovering myself. I threw myself into work, and the long hours paid off. I earned a promotion I'd been chasing for over a year. It came with a raise and a project that challenged me in all the right ways. For the first time in months, I was excited to wake up. I also joined a gym. First, it was just something to fill the evenings, but soon I found myself addicted to the routine. The weights, the discipline, the visible changes in my body was a kind of therapy I hadn't known I needed. Friends noticed before I did. Man, you look different, one buddy said during a weekend basketball game, not just physically. You've got this, glow. I laughed it off, but deep down I knew he was right. I wasn't carrying dead weight anymore. Still, there were moments when doubt crept in, late at night, lying in bed. I'd wonder if I'd made a mistake by letting her go so easily. Should I have fought for us? Was I being too cold? But every time, the memory of her words replayed in my head. I want wild before I settle down with someone safe like you. That wasn't love. That was selfishness, dressed up as honesty. One Friday, I ran into her at the grocery store. She was with 2 friends, loud and animated, until she spotted me by the produce section. For a moment, her face froze. I gave her a polite smile and nodded, then turned back to the apples in my hand. Later that night, I got a text, "You look good? Been working out?" It's no apology, no real question about my life, just curiosity. Like she wanted reassurance that I wasn't moving on faster than she was. I stared at the message for a long time before finally putting my phone down without replying. For once, I didn't feel the urge to explain myself. She wanted to taste freedom, and I wasn't going to be her safety net while she did. I was too busy creating a future she'd never be part of. But the thing about people like her, they don't like watching someone else thrive without them. And it wasn't long before she started clawing her way back into my life. It started with small, subtle cracks in her wild persona. The pictures of bar nights and endless parties slowed down. The smiles in her photos looked thinner, her makeup heavier, as if she was trying to cover the exhaustion beneath her eyes. Meanwhile, my life kept moving forward. The gym routine paid off. I was stronger, leaner, and more confident than ever. Work was thriving, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I was chasing someone else's approval. I was chasing my own. One Saturday morning, I was at a cafe working on my laptop when I noticed her walk in. She didn't see me right away. She was with a friend, and I couldn't help overhearing snippets of their conversation. "I don't know. It's not as fun anymore," she said, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. "The guys I meet at these places, they don't really care about me. It's all surface level." I thought I wanted this, but her voice trailed off. Her friend gave her a sympathetic look, but I didn't stick around to hear more. I closed my laptop, dropped a tip on the table, and walked out. For the first time, I realized she was starting to feel the emptiness of the world she had chosen. Later that week, she texted me out of the blue, "Hey, can we catch up sometime just as friends?" I stared at the message, debating. A few months ago, I would have jumped at the chance to see her again, but now I felt attached, like the bond we once had was already part of another life. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I let the message sit there for 2 days before finally replying. "I don't think that's a good idea. Take care." Her response was almost instant. "So that's it? After everything, you're just done with me?" I sighed. She had asked for freedom. I had given it to her. And now, when it wasn't turning out the way she imagined, she wanted me waiting in the wings. The truth was, she didn't miss me. She missed the version of herself she had when she was with me, the stable, loved, cared-for version. Now she was realizing that wild came with a price. Loneliness, shallow connections, and mornings that felt emptier than the nights before. But I wasn't about to be her comfort zone again, not after the way she dismissed me as safe. I had grown too much to go back. What I didn't realize then was that this was only the beginning. Her attempts to reinsert herself into my life were about to get a lot bolder. And part of me wondered just how far she'd go once she saw that I was no longer hers. Her first attempts were small, almost harmless. A like on an old photo, a comment on a gym picture. "Wow, you've changed." A message that started with, "Just checking in." I ignored most of it. But each time, a part of me recognized the pattern. She was testing the waters, trying to see if I'd take the bait, but I didn't. My silence said more than any reply could. Then the gestures grew bolder. One evening, I came home to find a box of cookies on my doorstep with a note. "Your favorite? Thought you might like a treat?" Her, I almost laughed. A few months ago, those cookies were our little inside joke, something she'd bake when I had a stressful week. Now they felt like bait, a trap disguised as nostalgia. I left them untouched. The next day, I set the box outside for the neighborhood kids. Soon after, she cornered me at the gym. I had just finished a set when she appeared by the water fountain, all smiles. "Hey, stranger," she said casually. Like bumping into me there was fate and not something she planned. "Hey," I replied flatly, grabbing my towel. "You look different, happier." She lingered, as if waiting for me to compliment her back. When I didn't, she bit her lip and added, "I kinda miss us." That line used to be my weakness. Now it just sounded like an echo from someone I didn't know anymore. "You miss the comfort," I corrected gently. "Not me." Her smile faltered. She tried to play it off, but I could see the frustration in her eyes. The real turning point came when I posted a photo of myself at a rooftop dinner with a coworker woman I'd grown close to over the past few months. We weren't officially dating yet, but the energy was there, undeniable. She was ambitious, funny, and her presence felt easy in a way my ex never did. Within an hour of posting, my phone buzzed with her name. "Wow, already moving on? Guess I really didn't matter to you?" I didn't respond. But the texts kept coming over the next few days. Long messages about how she thought I'd wait. how she thought what we had was special, how she couldn't believe I'd throw it away so quickly. The irony stung. She was the one who walked away in search of wild freedom. I had only respected her choice. But now, the more she saw me thriving, the more desperate she became. And a part of me started to wonder, was this about love, or was it about losing control? What I didn't know then was that her desperation was about to tip into something reckless, something that would test just how far she was willing to go to claw her way back into my life. Her behavior shifted from subtle hints to outright interference. It began with whispers. A coworker pulled me aside one afternoon and said, "Hey, just so you know, your ex asked me at a party if I thought you were serious with someone new." She seemed curious. Curious was an understatement. She wasn't just watching my life. She was dissecting it, trying to find cracks to wedge herself into. Then came the social media posts. One night, she uploaded an old photo of us on a trip we'd taken years ago, captioned, "Some memories never fade." She tagged me. I untagged myself immediately, but not before a few friends texted me asking what was going on. The final straw came when my new coworker, the woman I'd been seeing, pulled me aside. "So, she began hesitantly. "Your ex messaged me?" My stomach dropped. "What did she say?" She hesitated before showing me the screen. The message was long, a rambling paragraph about how I was a safe guy who always played it too straight, how I wasn't adventurous enough, how she hoped my coworker realized what she was getting into before she wasted her time. I felt heat rise in my chest, not embarrassment, but anger. This wasn't just desperation anymore. This was sabotage. "I'm sorry you had to deal with this," I told my coworker. To my relief, she laughed softly. "Don't worry. It actually told me more about her than about you." Still, I knew I had to shut it down. That evening, I called my ex. For the first time since we split, I initiated contact. She answered quickly, her tone bright. "Hey, I was hoping you'd call." "Stop." I cut her off. "This isn't a friendly call. You need to stop inserting yourself into my life. Messaging my friends, posting old pictures, reaching out to people I care about. It's not okay." There was a pause on the line. Then her voice softened into that familiar, manipulative lilt. I miss you. Made a mistake. I thought I wanted freedom, but I hate it. I hate waking up alone. Hate not having you." For a moment, her words tugged at something in me. 3 years together wasn't nothing. But then I remembered her sitting across that restaurant table, telling me I was safe, but boring. "You wanted to be wild?" I said firmly, "and you got it. But I'm not your safety net anymore. I've moved on, and you need to do the same." Her silence on the other end told me everything. She hadn't expected me to be this solid, this unshakable. But if I thought that would be the end of it, I was wrong. Because sometimes, when people realize they've lost control, they don't let go quietly. And she was about to prove that to me in a way I never saw coming. Her last attempt wasn't subtle. It wasn't sneaky. It was desperate and loud. It happened at a friend's birthday party. I hadn't realized she'd be there until I walked in and saw her across the room. For a moment, our eyes locked. She looked polished, almost overdone, like she'd dressed not for herself but for me. I tried to stay polite, keeping my distance, laughing with friends, enjoying the evening. But she made her move halfway through the night. As I was heading back from the kitchen with a drink in hand, she intercepted me. "Can we please talk?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. I sighed. "We've already talked. There's nothing left to say." She shook her head, her eyes glistening. "No, you don't understand. I thought I wanted freedom. I thought I wanted adventure. But all I found was emptiness. I missed the way you loved me. I missed the way you made me feel safe. I want that back. I want you back." A hush fell around us. People were watching, pretending not to, but the tension was obvious. My new coworker, the woman I'd been slowly building something real with, stood nearby, her expression unreadable. I set my drink down, took a deep breath, and looked my ex in the eyes. For a moment, I almost pitied her. She wasn't evil. She was lost. She had gambled everything for a thrill and ended up alone. But pity wasn't enough to rewrite history. "You told me I was safe but boring," I said evenly. "You wanted wild, so I let you have it, and now you're asking me to pick up the pieces? It's not fair to me." That's not fair to anyone. Her lips trembled. So that's it? You don't love me anymore? I hesitated, but only for a second. I did. I gave you everything. But love isn't supposed to be conditional. You only want me now because the world didn't give you what you thought it would. That's not love, that's regret. Her face crumpled and she turned away quickly, muttering something about needing air. The party buzz slowly returned, but the moment lingered in the air like smoke after a fire. Later that night, as I walked my coworker to her car, she slipped her hand into mine. That was intense, she said softly. But it needed to happen, she smiled, squeezing my hand. Well, for what it's worth, I think you're the perfect mix of safe and exciting. For the first time in a long while, I felt something lift off my chest. Not just relief, but peace. My ex wanted freedom, and she got it. I wanted growth, and I found it. And as I stood under the night sky, holding the hand of someone who saw my worth without needing to chase the world first, I realized something important. The best kind of freedom isn't found by running away. It's found by finally choosing the right person and the right life for yourself. If you've made it this far, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.